Hey guys, it's Rodimus Primal. I am back with another video, and Toy Fair is in full swing. So much information is coming out, and the actual event hasn't even started yet. As all this information is coming out, I'm just really excited to talk about it as we're finding it out because, man, it looks amazing. So I've got a lot to talk about, so sit back, relax, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and let's transform and roll out. Be sure to pre-order Transformers the Manga Volume 1 in the affiliate link below. Okay, so I wanted to start talking about G.I. Joe specifically with this news, and the reason why is because, well, Transformers owes a lot to G.I. Joe, and G.I. Joe's been kind of kept silent for a little while, and now they're coming back with a 6-inch figure line, and they've got some high-res images here on his tank when it comes down to these new figures, and maybe they might do some crossover events with Transformers. We don't know, but I really wanted to take a look at it because I also dig G.I. Joe, which is, you know, the reason why I'm wearing my G.I. Joe shirt. And we'll start off with Roadblock, and Roadblock looks pretty good for a 6-inch figure. I'm not really a fan of the head sculpt in particular, just maybe because, you know, I kind of expect Roadblock to look a little bit different. I don't know who they modeled the face, you know, after with this toy, but other than that, his toy looks good. His weapon looks awesome. You know, Roadblock has always been one of those awesome G.I. Joe characters. You know, he always talked in rhyme, and you know, so he's always a welcome addition. And then, of course, you've got Scarlett, and it looks like they've done a decent update to her design as far as her outfit is concerned. And she comes with her, you know, signature crossbow, and, you know, her outfit does remind me a little bit of, I think it was a G.I. Joe Resolute, is what it kind of reminds me of. And her face sculpt kind of reminds me, I want to say, I don't know who it reminds me of, but it does kind of remind me of an actress. But I think they did a pretty good job with her. But the big one that everybody's been talking about is Snake Eyes, and they're using the you know, weird you know, goggle plate over his eyes. I'm kind of, you know, was hoping that maybe they would do like a cross where they would have like different masks with him, because Snake Eyes has had different like helmet designs over the years. One like had goggles, then he had like the plate like this, and you know, and then of course he comes with all of his different accessories, and that's because he's got like, you know, a bunch of ninja training, and that's one of the things is that like Snake Eyes was the cool silent ninja because he couldn't talk. You know, it's a trait they decided to give to movie Bumblebee. Not really a fan of, but I was a fan of it with Snake Eyes, and I always thought it was awesome that you know, number one, he was a ninja, and I'm curious if he'll, you know, maybe they might do something with Timber, but you know, we'll see. And he comes with all his accessories. And then the next bit of news that came out with them, the last one, was Duke, and Duke looks okay. You know, his head sculpt looks all right. I guess looks like they're doing some scar damage on him. Maybe he's a little bit more of a battle-torn version. And you got some better resolution images. This picture here of Scarlett looks fantastic. In fact, the only thing is that these figures are 6 inches tall, so they don't scale well with Transformers unless like you don't mind if they're the same size. I have a lot, you know, obviously everybody has, or most people have, the 3 3/4 stuff or the 12-inch figures. And so if you now want to start collecting the 6-inch stuff, these figures are pretty cool. But now on to Transformers news. What we got is a bunch of leaks, and these leaks are giving us our first look at some of these toys, not necessarily their alt modes. The leaks actually came from Walmart's website, from their stock listings, and this is an Alicon. This is what I was talking about in my video yesterday about an Alicon. Was it yesterday or was it like earlier this week? About what an Alicon is. And Alicons are, they are the quintessence, like, swamp guardsmen, and they transform into these like bestial alligators with like big teeth. They look more vicious, in my opinion, than Sharkticons do, especially with all the spikes and everything. I think this toy looks great. Looks just like it came out of the movie. And it's like one of those characters you never ever expected for them to make a toy for. And since they're doing Quintessons, yeah, it's kind of expected. The next big reveal here is Double Dealer. And this is as much as I can zoom in on this image in order for you to actually be able to see it. But he looks kind of cool. It's clear that he has his classic truck, vehicle mode. I'm hoping that he has his Eagle mode as well, since those were his 3 modes. And I'm also curious if he's going to end up coming with his Power Master partners. But he looks good, at least as far as what we can see. The next one here that everybody has been like really, really excited about, especially if you got 8-Face, which, by the way, like I said, the only time I saw 8-Face in stores was I saw him on a shelf. One left in the store, didn't have the money, went back to the store, he was gone, and so I missed out on him. But I still want to get my hands on an 8-Face. But Snapdragon would complete all of the Headmasters from 1987 for the Decepticons, and the fact that he's a Horrorcon as well. He transforms into a jet, and he transforms into like this like weird bestial looking like dragon. So, which is why he's called Snapdragon. But he's also a Headmaster. So I'm excited to see him come out. And like this is the first kind of like image that we're getting of him. He doesn't look half bad. His robot mode looks decent. I'm curious as to how his other modes are going to turn out, which I'm sure we'll find out over the weekend. Now, this one in particular, I am very, very happy about because we're finally seeing the first of the Decepticon battle chargers, and that is Run Amok. I remember I had said I always get the two of their names confused: Run Amok, Runabout. Run Amok is the white one, Runabout is the black one. And they are like these two twin Decepticons that transform into cars. Their original gimmick was that you would pull the car back, you would let go, and then they would transform. The Jump Starters did that, the Throttle Bots did that, and the Battle Chargers, Run Amok and Runabout, did that. But I don't know if they're going to end up doing that with this one. The last one was a remold of Wheeljack and Trax from like the Generations line, and they were really expensive exclusives. But it seems now you're going to get a retail release of Run Amok, and that's really, really exciting. I hope they do both Run Amok and Runabout, but I'm curious as to whom he is a remold of. It looks to be either he is a pre-tool for Sunstreaker, maybe he's remolded from Wheeljack, or maybe he's remolded from Cliffjumper. We don't know, because we only know, obviously he is a deluxe class, but deluxe doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be that full-scale deluxe like the rest of the toys are. And I'm just hoping that his, he does come with, like that they do make a Runabout as well. You just can't do Run Amok and not do Runabout. So I'm hoping to see both of them. And this is our only glimpse that we get of the Quintesson. I am skeptical about this one. And the reason why is because what it looks like is that he transforms into a little battle set. I'm guessing that he's going to be large enough for like Micromasters to like ride on the ramps and stuff like that. So it means he's going to be pretty big. And his faces, I'm guessing they kind of like fold up, and that's his just basic transformation. Or maybe like one of them folds down this way. I'm not really sure as to how his transformation is supposed to work, but and it looks to be like this, like section right here is supposed to be a Quintesson journal. If you've ever seen the episode, The Big Broadcast of 2006, and its subsequent episode, The Quintesson Journal, they were basically fighting over this like little device that told some of the information that the Quintessons did during their exploits for profit. And one of the things they did was pretty neat. What I would say wasn't really neat. It was actually like really evil. is they got these two planets with different races of people that look completely different from one another. And Rodimus Prime had to sit there and like get them to sit down and talk to each other. And all they wanted to do was kill each other. And each of them were buying weapons from the Quintessons. Well, the Quintessons' plan was to wipe both planets out and take all their money and take all their wealth by just letting them kill each other and then eventually throw a doomsday weapon at each other. So they were like, that was their whole plan. And the Quintesson Journal actually told, like, it was basically designed to tell, like, this is like what we did. And once that was told to the two races were like, all right, we're not warring with each other anymore, but we're definitely going after the Quintessons. And we're not going to go to war with each other anymore. And that was kind of an interesting story. You don't get that kind of storytelling. You don't get that kind of storytelling out of some, you know, stories that you see out of some cartoons. Like, that was pretty deep, especially for a season 3, you know, cartoon episode. And when you end up finding that out, you're like, wow. Like, they really went, like, total sci-fi deepness with that. And it was kind of cool. So I hope that this is a Quintesson journal. Okay, so this is the information that you guys have been probably waiting for, has been all these toy reveals right here, even more for Transformers Earthrise. And they look awesome. Or at least some of them. I am very, very excited about Smokescreen. I'm very, very excited about, well, maybe Megatron. Maybe. But we'll see. What we've got is the Decepticon Double Crosser. It's probably the two-headed one. The Astro Squad, which comes with Blastmaster and Fusor, and they transform into the Space Shuttle. You've got the Racetrack Patrol, Groundhog, and Roller Force, which reminds me, one of the Racetrack Patrol, if I remember correctly, is the original G1 Barricade. So will we see a G1 styled Barricade out of the Micromasters? Maybe. We've got Airwave Modulator. Now, this one is pretty interesting. He's a modular battle station. That's going to be his name, is modular, you know, Airwave Modulator, or is his name going to be Airwave? We don't know. Like I don't know what his name is supposed to be. Like, it's just a weird name, right? You got the Racetrack Patrol. You got you know, some of the cars. They look pretty good. The Micromasters don't really do it for me. Like, I'm not really collecting the Micromasters themselves. I know some people are. I think they're really, really cool. They're just not my thing. I know a lot of people are into the Minicons, and this is kind of like that, like what eventually evolved into Minicons, but they're doing the whole playset thing. So here, Airwave Modulator, or whatever his name is supposed to be, you know, the cars ride on him. And then here are the two Space Shuttle, you know, Blazemaster and Fusor, that transform into a Micromaster Space Shuttle. I'm wondering if this smaller Space Shuttle will be able to fit inside Skylinks. That would be pretty cool. And then, of course, here he is on top of Ironworks. So they're doing both the Autobot and Decepticon battle platforms. So we're finally starting to see some more Decepticon stuff. And then here you see Fast Track is connected to, what is it, like Double Cross or something like that. Now here is Smokescreen in his vehicle mode, and like they're using a different number. It's now 30, you know, instead of 38, it's 80. I guess they wanted to make sure that they didn't have to worry about copyright or trademark with a number. So they're using a different number on his car mode, but it's an Earth style car. A lot of people are, you know, probably starting to already put their Siege Generation Selects Smokescreen on eBay as we speak, because they're like, well, I you know, if they're going to do an Earth version, why am I going to keep the Cybertronian version? And I have, you know, my Siege Prowl here, which I still have. I just got my Toy Hacks labels for, so I'm actually going to like start labeling him up because I finished painting his legs and his waist. But, you know, Smokescreen I skipped out on because right when I was like thinking about getting him, I saw the listing for Smokescreen, and I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to wait. And I was right to wait, because this Smokescreen looks awesome. His robot mode looks fantastic. Has all the molding that he's supposed to have. Looks like they did a good job with the shoulder-mounted blasters. The only thing about his shoulder-mounted blasters, though, is that they're black. The original ones were like either like silver or gray, and his gun originally was silver as well. So that might be something that some people might paint, and some people might be just okay with the colors. And I'm sure Toy Hacks is going to end up making their labels so they can give him proper tail lights, give him the proper 38 on his car mode, and maybe a 38 there on his chest there if they decide to do that. To make sure that they give him his details. But he looks good otherwise. He looks like it is a retool of the Prowl mold, but now done in an Earth-style vehicle. That seems to be the theme with Earthrise. Any of the toys that they are releasing that are the same character that they did in Siege, it looks like they're going to end up doing with Earthrise. I mean, sure, it's got new ones. You got Grapple and Hoist and all them. And then here you got Megatron in tank mode, which is clearly the Siege mold. And as you guys know, I customized my Siege Megatron, which you can see. I mean, I painted him up. I gave him red on his sides here, and I painted him gray on the inside and outside of his legs. Got rid of all the battle damage. So my Siege Megatron is pretty much like definitive for me. But this one is finally like an Earth-style tank. I know some people were like, oh, I'm hoping it's a G2. I was hoping that it was a G2 Megatron. But it seems to be that, obviously, for modern era, they've got to make him a tank, but they're making him an Earth-style tank. And I'm okay with that because you've got the tank treads on the sides. So you can kind of see here. You can kind of see, like, 116? Oh, maybe it's D16. That would be cool. I think... Correct me if I'm wrong, but D16 was that his number for the Japanese release? Was that like when they was it D16? Was it D16? That would be kind of interesting. Very interesting. And his robot mode, it obviously borrows from Siege Megatron. It's got the smooth legs instead of kind of having more like Cybertronian tank parts, but it uses the same feet. Seems to use the same arm cannon. But the rest of him is molded differently. I'm wondering if they fixed this one section here, because the one problem I can't stand with Siege Megatron, it's my one complaint about the toy, is that the head doesn't really sit on anything. So I'm wondering if the head will sit on that properly. I'm also curious if this is a new head, because this head looks, very different than the one that you see on screen. It's still the same G1 Megatron bucket head, but it seems to borrow a lot of parts from Siege. Obviously still has that missing red square. It's not painted, but it's there. And I don't like how this is a parts former for that front of the tank becomes instead of a regular sword, it's a subsection, because the way that this one transforms is a little different, and it seems to be that they're changing that up a little bit. I don't know how I feel about that. I want to see more images of it. Maybe this can sit on his back better and give him that classic G1 with the cannon on his back sticking up mode. Maybe that you can do that with that, where you can't really do that with this one and actually have it look good. If you take this on his back, it doesn't really stick out that far. So maybe that's what they're trying to do with this, and I'm all right with that, but it still kind of looks a little weird. And here is the sound barrier for... No, it's not really sound barrier. It's a two-headed double crosser. His robot mode looks a little weird, They're all glorified, we transform into platforms. It's so weird. So very, very weird. But I'm okay with it because everyone's going to be using it to, make their battle platforms. And I think it's kind of a cool thing. This is the robot mode for this new Decepticon. I'm guessing it's supposed to be Ironworks' rival, Airwave, or Modulator, or maybe Modulator again. I'm thinking that Modulator is just like what he is, and his name is Airwave. I'm okay with the name Airwave and Ironworks. Like, that would make a lot more sense. But, you know, and there was just like moving, you know, ramps. So like Airwave would make sense because then like jets can like land on him since he's like a rolling aircraft carrier, which is kind of cool. You know, very, very cool. But I did want to show this to you guys. Shout out to RVDA. He did a digibash of, you know, the Scorponok toy. And from what we can tell is that he's a retool of Omega Supreme. So he's probably going to be about the same height as Omega Supreme in robot mode. So he's going to be shorter than Fortress Maximus. But this is just a digibash of what Black Zarak would look like. And there is the Scorpion mode, as you can see. And one last bit of Transformers news that I wanted to talk to you guys about, and this is something that you guys have been asking me about. I knew nothing. Obviously, I'm in the dark. I don't work for Hasbro. But folks at T-Formers went into a Hasbro investor conference call, and they got to see some footage of the new Transformers War for Cybertron cartoon. They're not allowed to divulge anything else, but they will be showing some footage at Toy Fair. And as they're going to show footage, you know, then we also know that the show is coming out in June. So all of this like silence that they've been keeping is probably because they've been trying to make sure that the show is finished and it's good and that it's ready to go in time, because June is going to be when this new cartoon drops, and I'm hoping that it's good. I don't know anything else, but I am excited to hear, but I'm going to be cautiously optimistic, which is the only way you really can be when it comes down to it, because the toy line's been great. I'm hoping the cartoon has been great. And personally, and this is just my honest thought, if I had my own say, I would set the Transformers War for Cybertron cartoon in the G1 cartoon universe in the events before the arc leaves Cybertron. That would be my ideal like cartoon to make. But I don't know what they're making. But I'm excited about it one way or the other. But I don't know what you guys think about all this Transformers news. Of course, leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to thumbs up this video and subscribe. Check out my other videos as well. I still got a lot of stuff that I'm working on, videos that I've got being made. And I'm also going to be very busy this weekend, in addition to hearing about all the news from Toy Fair. So I probably will do a live stream sometime this weekend, as well as I will be doing some videos with my, you know, customized Siege toys, and I've got a new Transformers discussion video coming soon, and I've also got a book review for the Transformers manga Volume 1 coming soon as well. So I've got a lot to make, and I got a lot of videos to do, so I'm going to be keeping busy. So stay tuned for all that, and as always, guys, until next time, till all are one.